Good YouTube, Quinn Wade coming to y'all with that trade analysis. We're gonna go through all the trades that happened on trade deadline this day. The Sixers trade Reggie Jackson, a first round pick to the Washington Wizards for Jared Butler and 4 second rounders, which is crazy to get that many in one trade. So the Philadelphia 76ers have agreed to trade Reggie Jackson in a future first rounder pick to the Wizards. The Philadelphia 76ers will send a 2026 first rounder that is least favorable of picks they hold via the Los Angeles Clippers and the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets. The Wizards will send a second round pick in 2027, 2028, plus two in 2030 to the Sixers. Reggie Jackson is averaging 4 points, 1.4 rebounds, and 1.5 assists in 12.4 minutes across 31 games that he played for the Sixers this year. And Butler is averaging a little bit more than him, 6.9 points, 1.3 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and 11.3 minutes over 32 games. But Jared Butler is a brighter future guy. Plus, Reggie Jackson still can play, but he's going to be a one and done guy for the Wizards, and I don't even think he's going to stay on that roster that long, honestly, because of the ability for him to want to play for a contender and a championship team after he won with Denver. There's no way you're going to just play with teams that don't have a chance to win anything. And I think that makes sense, but Sixers do get a young, fun prospect and Jared Butler, a long, lanky body with athleticism, can score a little bit, and I think he has a lot of upside, two-way potential too. We'll see if he's able to realize that, which is hard to do in the modern NBA. But I will say that 4 second rounders is a lot for Reggie Jackson, the first round pick. But if that's what they want to do, it makes sense to them. But you never really know how these second round picks are going to turn out, especially because they could be in the late part of the draft. But other than that, the trade makes a little bit of sense for that reason, especially because first round picks are more valuable. So you got to give me something that's valuable in return, and not to get more swings at trying to get the player that they want with those second round picks. Magic have shown interest in Kobe White. That's something that we see. Um, I also wanted to talk about let's see what else is here. The Jazz is not expected to keep Dennis Schroeder. He's looking like he's going to get waived from the team. And I actually want to talk about the Brandon Ingram trade. Obviously, I didn't cover that yet. But the Toronto Raptors have acquired Brandon Ingram from the New Orleans Pelicans for Bruce Brown Jr., Kelly Olynyk, a first round pick in 2026 via the Indiana Pacers, and 1 second round pick. And that's what they get. Ingram is on a $36 million aspiring contract with the Pelicans, as the two sides haven't come close to extension. Earlier this season, and Ingram is averaging 22 points, 5.6 rebounds, 5.2 assists in 33 minutes, and Ingram is shooting 37%, a career percentage from three, and he's attempting the most in his career too. He's always been a good player. He can rebound, he can facilitate, he can score and put the ball in the basket. He has that patented fadeaway, and he has the pull-up game, and he can also hit the three, and he can also get guys in great positions to score. He always been a guy that you want around because he has so much talent, but you also not trying to keep him locked down because he's not great enough to help you win a championship. He's not great enough to be a number one. He's not great enough to be a leader, but he does have a lot of good instincts and a real good feel for the game and understands how to play his game very good. And I'm just happy he became a better playmaker and a better dynamic player in general, but they didn't really give up anything crazy. People were saying they were trying to get rid of Bruce Brown all season, and they finally do that for an upgrade at the forward spot. I think that the things that they gave up doesn't really matter because you're not really using Kelly Olynyk that much anyway because you got Jakob even though he has more ability to space the floor and score, but you don't really need him to do that now because you have so many other bigs like Chris Boucher that can do things that's similar. Bruce Brown Jr. He was injured majority of the season. He's just a solid role player that can defend a little bit, hit floaters, get to the basket, potentially knock down threes every once in a while. That's all he really brings to the table. And then the first round pick by Indiana and 1 second round pick. You had to give up a couple picks, but it does make sense to acquire a talent like Brandon Ingram that's still in his 20s. But Brandon Ingram from the Pelicans going to Toronto. He going red to red. And we're going to see what he does there. I think he still got a lot of great basketball left in him. And I think that that's going to be something fun to see what he does as a Pelican. As a Raptor. The Grizzlies trade Marcus Smart in a 2025 first rounder to the Wizards. The Memphis Grizzlies send a 2025 first round pick to the Wizards for 2 second round picks, along with Marvin Bagley, who we knew they possibly might move, and Johnny Davis in a multi team trade. Marcus Smart hasn't been able to find a sticking spot since he lost the ability to play for the Celtics. And as a part of the trade, the Sacramento Kings will send Alex Len, Kobe Jones, and a 2028 second round pick to the Grizzlies for Jake LaRavia. Obviously, they ended up getting a new big in Sacramento, so it makes sense for them to move on from Alex Len, who's an average big, just a big body, doesn't really do much other than being that. And they always say you can't teach height, so he might find another position with another team. And they went all in on Marcus Smart, who's been injured majority of this year, not really playing that much. And it makes sense that they wanted to move all Smart in Memphis. He can wear on you too as a personality in a locker room and as a player. And I think they just got enough of the antics and got enough of him not being healthy, and just said he's not going to really do much for us. He's not going to really be a big difference maker for us, so let's move off of him. And you got to give credit to the Wizards to make this move, but it's kind of crazy that they did because he is young and he is a good defender. He is a good competitor, but they have made a lot of moves to shred their roster. Now they making moves that do more for their roster, which is a little confusing to me. But the deal creates roster flexibility for the Grizzlies by trading out Smart, and also could allow them to renegotiate and extend a deal with Jaren Jackson Jr., who has been their best player this season, and he's an all-star too. Then it makes sense to prioritize keeping him because he's a two-way player that can score, put the ball in the basket, dunk, hit free throws, hit threes. Just a good switchable player, a good defender when it comes to protecting the paint and stripping people sometimes too. Smart appeared only in 19 games with the Grizzlies this season, and he only averaged 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists in 21 minutes. Smart is on a $20 million deal this season and a $21 million deal next year, 2025-2026 season. So you're not going to be locked in that contract for a long period of time, which is a good thing because if you want to go in a different direction or you can't continue to stay healthy, then it makes sense that you want to go in that direction with Marcus Smart. But that's a crazy trade to see that they'll take a gamble on him for now. Take a flyer is what we call it in the NBA for him on this point. Let me see what else they have. Clippers acquire Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Hawks for Terrence Mann and Bones Highland. I think that makes sense. he's the better player of the two, and he can shoot the ball, and he's a switchable body for the Clippers. The Clippers always make moves. It seems like every year, and he's just a great addition to this team. And you didn't have to give up a pick for what I see. The Hawks have been expected to trade Bogdan for several weeks. Bogdanovich is shooting 30% from three this season, but his career is 38% shooter for that particular skill set. And in 24 games this season, Bogdanovich is averaging 10 points, 2.8 rebounds, 2.0 assists. Terrence Mann is only averaging 6 points and 2.9 rebounds and 1.6 assists in 19 minutes across 37 games for the Clippers. And Mann is signed through 2027-2028 season after signing that 3-year extension 47 million. And in September, Mann will help the Hawks replace Hunter on the wing, who was traded in the Cleveland Cavaliers ahead of the deadline, who they actually needed a wing. We'll get to that later. And the Denver Nuggets also had interest in Mann. Sources tell Jake Fisher. Bones Highland appeared in 20 games this season for the Clippers and is averaging 7 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. In only 11 minutes. Highland will be a restricted free agent in the offseason, so they have a chance to retain them and keep them if they want to, because they can match any offer. According to Fisher, the Hawks will send Minnesota a second-round pick in 2025, a 2027 originating from the Clippers, and the Memphis Grizzlies second-round pick in 2026, protected 43 through 60. And that's the best picks they could have got out of this trade, and they ended up getting them. But I like this for the Clippers, just get another switchable guy that can shoot the ball from three and get to the rim every once in a while. And that's all you really need, is somebody that that can possibly fill that role. And those two guys really could do it, and now they get a guy that does. And he's a taller, bigger athlete too. So I think this will really work out for the Clippers. And I think it makes sense for the Hawks to get more depth. And if they don't want to keep the guys, they can let them go and still be in a good position next year, as some of their guys are still beat up. And that's the main reason they've been losing. But they like those type of guys, those speedy, quick decision maker type of guys, and Mann and Bones can do that for them. The Cavaliers, they acquired DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks for Karis LeVert, George Niang, 3 second-round picks, and 2 swaps. That's a big trade for a guy like DeAndre Hunter, but he is just that good when he gets a role that matters, because he's athletic, long, lanky, can really shoot the 3 ball, can get to the basket, can get out in transition, can play a little defense, can get steals. So they ended up getting rid of Karras and George Niang in a season where everything was going the right way, and they really into gamble on DeAndre Hunter. The swaps are in 2026 and 2028 against picks that have already been swapped with the Utah Jazz, which means the Hawks will receive the second round most favorable of the 3 picks in each year since they made this trade. The two sides have been discussing a trade center on Hunter throughout the whole week. Hunter is averaging 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.5 assists in 28.7 minutes across 37 games with the Hawks. And he has a PER of 15, which is a career high mark this season. And his 3-point average is above average with 39.3 on 6.7 attempts, which means he's a high volume 3-point shooter, but he's really, really efficient at that skill. Hunter makes $21 million this season and is set to make $23 million and $24 million the following 2 seasons. So you get 1 year, then you get an extra 2 years if you really like him, without having to worry about negotiating a contract extension if you don't want to, because he's already under contract for a little bit more the next 2 years after this year, which is good to see for the Cavaliers, getting the guy that we knew that they needed, because they're a little small in the backcourt. Now they get another switchable guy that can knock down shots from the perimeter and get out in transition and create some chaos with his defense. And I think that that's a good trade. The Cavaliers also dipped below the luxury tax with this move, and Atlanta is expected to make another move to put them into the tax, which is crazy that they would even want to be a tax-paying team when they don't really have a legitimate chance of winning a championship. But Karis LeVert and George Niang are very high-quality role players that can really score the ball and shoot a little bit too. And they also are decent free throw shooters, but they gave up a lot for DeAndre Hunter, and we're gonna see what else the Hawks do with these two guys and in the future in general. Suns trade Yusuf Nurkic in the 2026 first round pick to the Hornets for Cody Martin and Micic. And Cody Martin has been a decent player his whole entire career, especially as a shooter. And they get more wings and guards in this trade going to the Suns. And Nurkic hasn't been an ideal fit, and he actually has fell out of favor in Phoenix, and he has been a bad player for them. And they also had to give up a pick for somebody to take that contract. For now, the Suns have acquired him, the 2026 first round pick. I would say first, Nurkic has been out of the Suns rotation for several weeks as he have attempted to, well, the team has attempted to trade him. Nurkic is owed $19 million next season. And Phoenix recently converted their 2031 first round pick into 3 first round picks, which has made this trade possible. Martin is averaging 7.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists in 24 minutes across 39 games for the Hornets. He gets to leave this team and go to a team that's winning a little bit more and playing for more games that matter because they're trying to be a playoff team. Martin is a career 31.9 3-point shooter, which is below average. And Martin is signed through 25, 26, but his contract is not guaranteed. That means if it doesn't work out, you can always waive him and use that roster spot for somebody else and don't have to pay him for cutting him. Micic has appeared in 36 games this season with the Hornets and is averaging 7 points, 2.4 rebounds, 3.5 assists. In 21 minutes, the Suns will inherit a team option on Micic for 25-26. And the Suns have potentially get below the second apron next season if they part ways with Martin and Micic in the offseason. So they can use them now to help them make a run for the playoffs, and they can let them go and be able to make more moves next season if they have to or they want to. Or they can also just look at the fact they ain't paying a bunch of money to keep this team as the highest paid team this year, and they can just be a team that's saving money and trying to still compete for a spot without having to be in the second apron either, which stops them from doing a lot of other deals. And it's good that they prioritize getting out of that situation, even if it's next year, which is good to see. Other than that, Heat dropped below the first apron by trading P.J. Tucker in the second round for cash to the Raptors for Davion Mitchell. So that's a small little trade too. The Heat will drop below the first apron with the trade. Miami could fold this trade into their multi-team deal involving Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors. Davion will be a restricted free agent this offseason and has averaged 6 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists in 24 minutes in 44 games for the Toronto Raptors. Toronto acquired Mitchell from Sacramento last offseason, and that was good for them. They liked it picking him up, but they had to do this deal because that apron is something serious. Tucker was recently traded by the Clippers to the Utah Jazz and was then rerouted this week as a part of the Butler trade. Tucker hasn't played since 23-24 season, which is crazy that he's even still in the league and paid. But since his money guaranteed, it makes sense why he does, because he earned it and they paid him for it. But it hasn't really worked out for him in 2 years, as he was just sitting there staying in shape and being ready to play when he had the opportunity, just collecting a check legally. Other than that, Davion Mitchell, I don't see him being um, that long on the Heat, for example. But it was just more of a business move, and they still was able to get a pick out of that and some cash, which helps them be able to make other moves in the future. And now we're just gonna have to see what Davion becomes and what he does in his next place that he goes to probably this off season, and see if he has some suitors that want to keep him. And if the Heat want to keep him, it's not going to cost them that much to do it. And that's just how it goes with a move like this. Um, Other than that, the Hawks trade Cody Zeller to the Rockets to drop below the luxury tax too. We know that that was one of their goals because that's basically everybody goes. The Thunder waived Daniel Tice um, since they got him now. Okiki signs a 10-day contract with the Sixers. Trae Young future with the Hawks are unclear. Spurs consider a trade for him before the De'Aaron Fox deal. I think Fox is just as good as Trae Young, but he's a better defender, and he's just a better scorer to me, and he has more size. So it makes sense to go for Fox as a priority over Trae Young, though he's the better playmaker. Bucks acquired Kevin Porter Jr. from Clippers for Marjon Beauchamp. I think obviously Kevin Porter is a better offensive player and a better scorer than Beauchamp, and Beauchamp has been to me been tradable since he got drafted there. They're in win now mode, so they're trying to get anybody that can really help them do that. And Kevin Porter Jr. can help them be a better team than what Marjon Beauchamp can be for them because they already had him for a couple years, and Kevin Porter has been that much better than him. Pacers trade James Wiseman for cash to the Raptors. The Raptors just gathering assets, and James Wiseman just another one. Seems like James Wiseman on a path to be out of the league at this point. He can't stick to any roster. No team is trying to keep him. Is a lot of other bigs that's coming, and the draft is coming, so more bigs is going to be available for that reason too. And it looks like James Wiseman is on his way out because teams are not trying to keep him. Teams are not liking him enough to want to keep him longer, and he just getting bounced around at this point. As crazy as that seems, Sixers add 2030 second rounder to Mavericks as a part of the amended Caleb Martin trade. For people that didn't know, Cavaliers and Hawks continue to discuss that Hunter trade until they actually got done. Bucks do trade Patrick Baldwin Jr. to the Spurs for cash. They just got him, and they already got rid of him the next day. That's how crazy this deadline has been. Uh, Wizards waive Sydney, which they got him in that trade. Now they got rid of him. He's going to be able to get picked up by anybody that's interested for the most part. Warriors Bulls was still discussing that Vucevic trade, but it didn't really materialize anything for what I see. Um, and Mavericks was showing interest in Kobe White, but it didn't materialize into anything. Um, Jazz was not expected to keep Dennis Schroeder after that trade, but he also is a guy that you want to probably use for 1 year, and then after that let him go. But it seems like they're more in a rush to get rid of him. Knicks trade Jericho Sims to the Bucks for DeLon Wright and cash. This is another big body for them, and a athlete that can possibly be a rebounder and a perimeter protector for them. And DeLon Wright wasn't really panning out for the Bucks. He was not even playing in a lot of games recently, so they soured on him and got rid of him as soon as they could. And I think the Knicks probably gonna try him out a little bit, and if it doesn't work, he's gonna be gone. Um, the Bucks acquired Kyle Kuzma from the Wizards earlier this week. Sims has been expected to be traded by the Knicks ahead of the deadline. It actually went through. Um, I do think that makes sense for the Bucks. Get somebody that's bigger because you really do need that. and you have a lot of guards already on your roster. Plus, you just did that other trade to get another wing, not that long ago. What I just read, the Raptors Hawks neck and neck in pursuit of Ingram, but obviously we knew that the Raptors ended up getting them. Lonzo Ball did agree to a 2-year, $20 million extension. I also wanted to say that Jimmy Butler traded to the Heat. He ended up agreeing to a $120 million extension for 2 more years to stay with the Golden State Warriors, most likely. But if he doesn't, they still can get something valuable for him since he's still under contract. Um, let's see what else that I probably missed. Pelicans trade Theis to Thunder so they can drop below the luxury tax. And they ended up getting rid of Tice, like I said before. But now you know how he ended up getting to the Thunder in the first place. Um, the Rockets acquired Jaden Springer in a 2030 second round pick from the Celtics. Obviously, they had to get rid of him. He actually is a decent little player. Um, and the Rockets will also exchange a heavily protected second round pick in that trade, sending them to the Celtics. Springer has averaged 0.9 rebounds in 5 minutes across 26 games this season for the Celtics. Springer was a 28th pick in the 2021 draft by the Philadelphia 76ers. He will be a restricted free agent, but I don't think you have to spend a lot of money on this guy to keep him around. Boston tax bill drops from 65 million to 50 million and will move, also creating a roster spot so that way they can get another guy that they like in the buyout, opportunity. Most buyout players don't have the biggest impact, but they still can be good players that fit what you're trying to do better than the guy that you had before. And that just means that they want a veteran and they can get them now, which is important in general when you're trying to build the best roster that you can get. And that was basically the biggest move that the Celtics made so far. Sixers also trade KJ Martin, 2 second round picks to the Pistons so they can drop below the luxury tax. KJ Martin is actually a decent player, but 2 second rounders to the Pistons. The Pistons still trying to grow their talent, and they ended up doing that and still have a chance to get some players that can help give them some depth in the future as they keep trying to build around Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and Jalen Duran, which makes sense for them to do that. Other than that, I think that's just it for a trade deadline. Happy I was able to give you guys what I thought. I'm glad I was able to see all the moves that was made. We had some big names moved this year. Wow, like it's just a wow factor of look how many of these guys are actually gone from their former team. And this is probably one of the greatest trade deadlines in the history of trade deadlines. Because, I mean, look how many stars got traded. Jimmy, AD, Luca, and Middleton. And the show was just going on and on and on for some of these teams. And even some guys that we weren't even thinking about being moved got moved. And it's just crazy to see that happen and guys just not holding no type of loyalty, and they ain't holding no type of loyalty. And they making moves for cash, and they making moves for picks, and they clearing roster spots. And these guys like, wow, I played so well for you or did so much for you that you don't really even care about that because you feel like you can get somebody better or so you can get somebody that can help you more. But hey, it's business, and that's how it goes, and they have to make those decisions for themselves, and they have to put themselves in the best position, just like the players try to do too. And it is what it is for that reason. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for supporting the channel. Thank y'all for accepting the content for what it is and appreciating it for that reason. I love making videos for you guys. And if you're new to the channel, I make conversation videos just like this in different varieties and different topics on NBA only content. Also do breakdowns with real footage of legends, current legends, future rookies, also future stars. Also do draft coverage and mock drafts too. If you like that stuff, then check out the 3,000 plus videos that I already have on my channel that you can watch and enjoy and possibly become a subscriber or a fan of what I do and how I do it. Other than that, thank y'all for continuing to watch and continuing to support the channel. Thank y'all for supporting this trade deadline bonanza that I ended up having. And I'm sad that I missed a lot of time in putting this up late, but there's other stuff to do besides make videos, and I had to prioritize just getting it done in general, not just doing it for the numbers. People just want to know what I think, and they just enjoy how I tell you what I think, and they also enjoy watching what I have to say, and that's the fun part of it too. Other than that, I'm going for now. See you guys later. Got instant analysis coming later today, and let's see how this season goes as we get closer to the end of it. I'm going for now.